So even though the Eagles are sitting at 8-1 and on top of the NFC during their bye week, that didn't stop Eagles legend Brian Dawkins from calling out the team and issuing a challenge for them to really clean things up in the second half of the season. And someone else who has already cleaned it up a bit this year is Jalen Hurts, who even while playing through an injured knee, may have a case as the best QB in the NFL right now, even over Patrick Mahomes. And Hurts is certainly receiving recognition for how he's performed, as are other Eagles, with a number of guys being picked as winners of the Pat McAfee midseason awards, and one of them really has proven to be a home run for the Eagles really all throughout the course of his first season with the Birds. But for Jason Kelce, many think this could actually be his last season, and he spoke about his retirement on Thursday Night Football, and it sounds like there might still be a chance that this year isn't his last. And finally, with the team resting during the bye week, could Howie Roseman be preparing to go out and make another move to acquire this former All-Pro? Well, we're going to talk about all that and more news in this video today, so let's not waste any time and get straight into it. So as of now, the Eagles are sitting in the middle of their bye week, which came at the exact perfect time, because the Birds have what some people are calling the gauntlet of their schedule coming up right after the bye week comes to an end, with 5 straight games against some really good teams, so the Eagles are going to need to be well rested and as healthy as possible going into this stretch. Now, some good news is that the Birds are pretty much guaranteed to get 3 players back after the bye in young star right guard Cam Jurgens, then slot corner Bradley Roby will also be returning, which is going to be crucial to helping the secondary, and then whether we like it or not, wide receiver Quez Watkins will be returning as well, as he posted an Instagram story of a boomerang of him suiting up in cleats with the caption "soon." So I guess we'll see if he's able to come back and make any sort of impact with Dallas Goedert out, although I'm still personally a fan of Julio Jones as the lead man to replace Goedert's receiving production, but I guess we'll see what Watkins has to offer. Now, in addition to all these guys returning from injury, probably the biggest benefit of having this bye week right now is that it gives Jalen Hurts a chance to try and get healthy, as of course we all know that he's been dealing with that knee bone bruise for probably a little over a month now, and the Eagles' hope is that this bye gives him a chance to get healthy, as ESPN's Tim McManus shared, quote, "There aren't any alarm bells going off. Hurts reportedly has a bone bruise in that left knee. He's been fighting through the pain the past few weeks and took a direct shot on his knee against the Cowboys, which clearly affected him, but Hurts hasn't missed any practice or playing time, and he continues to operate at a high level even with his mobility at less than 100%. The hope is that the bye week will help with the healing." So let's hope, like McManus said, that the bye week really helped Jalen Hurts' knee recover so that he's ready for the toughest stretch of the Eagles season. Now, probably the craziest thing about the Hurts knee injury is that it hasn't really affected his play at all. I mean, like McManus said, he continues to operate at a high level, and really these past few weeks he's been spectacular even while re-aggravating the injury a few times. And if you really look at his full body of work this season, even with a slow start, Jalen has put up some incredible numbers and had great success, as QB1 already has completed a career-high 68.1% of his passes while throwing for 2,347 yards and 15 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, and he's also rushed for 316 yards and 7 touchdowns, putting his total touchdowns at 22 for the year. And of course, he's also led the Eagles to an NFL best 8-1 record, so his efforts have not only got him to number 1 on the NFL's QB rankings ahead of Sunday's Week 10 games, but they have him firmly placed in the MVP conversation, with him sitting at or near the top of most odds makers and lists, along with a certain QB named Patrick Mahomes, who's also been incredible this season, leading the Chiefs to a 7-2 start and putting up some great numbers as usual. I mean, I think universally, Pat is obviously considered to be the best quarterback in the NFL. He's proven that time and time again throughout his career. Just last year, he beat out Jalen Hurts for the MVP award, and then obviously, even though Hurts outperformed him, we know what happened in the Super Bowl. However, just ahead of their Week 11 matchup, if you compare Mahomes and Hurts' numbers as of right now, it appears that Jalen has the slight edge, with them being very close in a lot of the major categories like total yards, interceptions, and passer rating, but Hurts has 1 more win and 5 more total touchdowns. So using that evidence, I really don't think it's too crazy of a statement to make that so far just this season, Jalen Hurts has been slightly better than Patrick Mahomes. And no, of course I'm not trying to make the argument that Jalen has overtaken Patrick Mahomes as the best quarterback in the NFL, because Pat's body of work is much larger, he's accomplished more in his career, and I would still definitely say Patrick Mahomes is the better overall player, but if you just look at this year and the numbers that the two have put up and what they've done, Jalen has been a little bit better statistically, and if you were to vote on MVP right now with these two seemingly being the front runners yet again, I think you gotta give the award to Jalen, and Pat McAfee and the boys agree as they picked their midseason awards in what they called the middies, and this is what they decided for MVP.
Ladies and gentlemen, the MVP MIDDIE award winner is... Boom! Oh! It pays to be 8-1. Jalen Hurts has won like 25 of 27 regular season games or something like that. They're 8-1 right now. He is a leader, and since he has become the guy for the Philadelphia Eagles, all they've done is seemingly win. I love watching him continue to grow, especially after getting a massive contract, and congrats on winning a MIDDIE, Jalen.
So it's hard to argue there. I mean, there are some great candidates who all very well could end up winning the award at the end of the year, but Jalen is surely in the mix of it all, and right now, I'd say he has the strongest case, especially because of the Eagles' team success, and if they come out against the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes in Arrowhead and get the win, that could go a long way in helping Hurts' MVP case over Mahomes. So I can't wait to see what happens in that game. I'm going to have plenty more videos and coverage leading up to that matchup, as well as just throughout the regular season, so if you don't want to miss any of that, make sure you go down and subscribe right now and turn on notifications. If you're part of that 75% of the people that watch these videos but haven't hit the subscribe button, go change that right now. I would really appreciate it, and I also think it would help you because you wouldn't miss any videos just like this. Now, Jalen Hurts isn't the only Eagle to win a MIDDIE from Pat McAfee and the boys, as we got a couple other guys who won an award as well. Take a listen here.
The winner of the coach of the mid-year, the winner of the MIDDIE is, obviously, they're 8-1.
Duh.
Okay, they're at the top of the NFC, and he is phenomenal.
I should have won Coach of the Year last year. I kind of said that to you guys last year and before the season. It's bull. I didn't win. I don't know if people just love to hate me, maybe because, you know, I was dogging people and doing that face right in front of the camera whenever we were beating the hell out of somebody in the playoffs. But yeah, I'll gladly accept the MIDDIE, and maybe, you know, come end of the year, I will finally get that Coach of the Year that I have so rightfully deserved for the last couple of years.
Man, shout out to Pat McAfee and the guys for giving Sirianni the respect he deserves. And also shout out to Ty Schmidt for the always hilarious Nick Sirianni impression, and he does make a good point. I mean, going back to last year, Nick had a very real case to win the award, and he wasn't even in the top 3 candidates. And now this year, despite the Eagles being 8-1 for the second straight season, and having one of the best offenses in the league and accomplishing all these things, Sirianni isn't really being mentioned too much in the Coach of the Year talk, which is complete BS. I mean, it really does seem like the NFL and the fans love to hate Sirianni because of his personality and the things he does on the sideline during games, and they try and discredit him by saying that he's getting carried by a super team, even though people tend to forget that back in his first season as the Eagles head coach, he took a team that was supposed to win around 4 games and made them a playoff team. I mean, at the end of the day, Sirianni's a great coach. He's a winner. He holds players accountable. He holds himself accountable. He's a great motivator and leader, and he puts trust in his players.
I go for it on 4th and 3 because of you. I go for it on 4th and 3 because of you.
At the end of the day, if you just look at resume, Nick Sirianni is one of the best coaches in the NFL, and hopefully by the time we get to the end of the season, he is in serious contention to win the Coach of the Year award because he deserves it. And then going back to the middies, one final Eagle took home an award as well.
The Defensive Rookie of the Year through 9.5 weeks and 1 day is, boom, the Rhino, Jalen Carter of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Congrats, Jalen!
Congrats, Jalen, you did it. Woo!
How many sacks do you think he ends the season with? I'll say 9.
It's not just sacks either. It's also pressures.
Disruption. He disrupts the whole thing. Everything.
In a way, adults that have been in the NFL for 10 years are talking about him. It's like, this dude doesn't even know yet, really, what he's doing. And he's just better than everybody.
I mean, McAfee really said all that needs to be said. Jalen Carter has been nothing short of incredible to begin his career, and he affects the game in a multitude of ways, and he just still has so much developing left to do. I mean, when this guy reaches his full potential, it's going to be really scary for the league, and I think everyone knows that, including Cowboys future Hall of Fame guard Zach Martin.
Man, keep going, man. You're going to be special. It's an honor, very special. Great job. Stay healthy, all right?
It's really cool to see a legend like Martin show Carter respect like that. I mean, he knows the Birds got a special player in Jalen Carter, and as Bleacher Report wrote, he's been a, quote, home run addition for the Eagles, with them saying, quote, Carter's ability to dominate matchups has turned him into a focal point of offensive lines week in and week out. No other rookie 1 or 3 technique is within the same stratosphere in affecting the quarterback through 8 games. A gap clogger in the run game who can pin his ears back and rip through even the most technically sound linemen in the game, he's been a home run addition by the Philadelphia Eagles general manager Howie Roseman. Man, I really cannot wait to see what Jalen Carter is able to turn into in his career, but just right now for this season, I'd be surprised if he didn't walk away with a Defensive Rookie of the Year award. Now, while Carter is just beginning his career and making a huge impact, Jason Kelce continues to make a huge impact towards the end of his career. Now, right now, Kelce's enjoying his bye week as he just traveled to Chicago for Thursday Night Football's Bears vs. Panthers matchup, where he stopped at the famous hot dog place, the Wiener Circle, with Andrew Whitworth, where he got recognized for his latest accomplishment.
Look, world, I got the world's sexiest man alive and here with that little ass shirt on. Get your one eye ass out my TikTok. So I put your good eye out, motherfucker.
I mean, first off, we gotta give that lady credit because she was hilarious, but can we seriously start a petition to get that vote overturned or something? I mean, as Ty Schmidt's version of Nick Sirianni said,
Patrick Dempsey is not the sexiest man, okay? He's not sexier than me. He's definitely not sexier than Jason.
Hey, at least Jason himself knows who the real sexiest man is.
Honestly, just another day. My wife tells me all the time I'm the sexiest man in the world. So I've been wondering what's been taking so long for this nomination to happen.
Now, all jokes aside, Jason Kelce actually did have some very interesting comments on the Thursday Night Football broadcast, as of course, like I said earlier, we all know that he's nearing retirement, and everyone's dreading that day, and I think most people do expect it to come after this season, but when he was asked about it on the air, I think he gave some fans a little bit of hope that this may not quite be his last year, as he said, quote, "It's too hard to plan that far ahead. We'll see where we're at the end of the season. The league is changing so much, but I can say I'm having a whole lot of fun right now." So honestly, it seems like he's kinda in the same spot that he's been in for the past few years, and he'll probably make that decision again at the end of the season. But hey, he says he's having a lot of fun right now, so maybe he'll want to keep that fun going into next year, or maybe I'm just wishful thinking. Regardless of what Kelce decides at the end of the year, he's a legend, and whenever he does retire, it'll be a sad day, but I'm sure he'll have success in whatever he does. I mean, he did seem to be a natural on the Thursday Night Football broadcast. You gotta love Kelce, man. And if this is in fact his last year, the Eagles gotta send him out on top of the ring. But to do that, the Eagles have to be playing their best ball. I mean, they can't continue to make these mistakes that they've made throughout the first half of the year when they go against some of the best teams in the league, and especially once they get into the playoffs. Because, once again, even though the team is 8-0, and for the most part they've been really good, and they've continued to get better and better as the games have gone on, they still got things they have to work on if they want to get to where they want to go. And Eagles legend Brian Dawkins echoed this as he kind of called out the Eagles in a way for their so-called ugly 8-1 start, while also expressing excitement that he knows this team has another level that they can reach, as he said this in an appearance on WIP radio.
They are a ugly 8-1. They are a quote-unquote ugly 8-1. It's not a pretty 8-1. It's not a glossy and shiny 8-1, right? They're not just blowing people out of the door. They're not winning by 30 points, 25 points. They're not doing that, right? They're finding ways because of mistakes they have made. So when you win that way, the way that I see it, the way that I understand it, now they can continue to have tough conversations in the locker room when you don't have people or guys in there that may not have the highest, like the ultimate standard. When you do it like this, Charles Barkley said it like this, and I always remember this. He said that success or winning is the greatest deodorant there is, right? Because it covers up a whole bunch of stinky stuff sometimes, right? And so when you're winning, you know, you can fall into the mindset, oh, come on, man, we 8-1. Why are you tripping? Like, well, it ain't all that bad. We 8-1. No. But if we don't correct these things while we're at this juncture, when we get into the playoffs, that's going to be the one that's going to get us kicked out.
And I love what Dawkins said here because of how real and true it is. I mean, yes, they are finding ways to win, and that's great, but they also still do have to fix some things before it comes back to bite them, and Dawkins just sees this as an exciting opportunity for them, which I think is a great way to look at it. Now, what are some things they gotta get better at, specifically on the defensive side of the ball? Well, Dawkins also explained that.
That's in the red zone for the defense. Got to get off the field, third downs and red zone. That is not a good formula for success. You know that being with Jim Johnson all those years. That was one of the things he always talked about. Yep. We want to be tops in the league when it comes to getting off the field, third down, and especially in the red zone. That was his baby, red zone defense.
I mean, I definitely got to agree with Dawkins there. The Eagles' defense as a whole just has to be better in those key spots. The secondary can't break down on third downs or in the red zone like they have, and I do think that the scheme and play calling in those situations needs to be a little bit more aggressive, but the players also just got to execute as well, and of course the pass rush, they have to get home. And speaking of that, many people have been speculating recently that the Eagles could be a potential landing spot for a former All-Pro pass rusher, as Jason Pierre-Paul is apparently looking for any chance he can get at this point for an NFL return, as after remaining a free agent this offseason following a year with the Ravens, he now says he's willing to sign onto the practice squad of a playoff contending team. So again, there is no official report on this, but a lot of people have speculated that the Eagles could look into signing JPP and maybe storm on the practice squad and maybe elevate him up to 3 times to see if he has anything left in the tank. And I gotta admit, this does make a bit of sense. I mean, the Eagles have an open spot on their practice squad as of now, and they are a contending team. And also, also, you know they're always looking to improve in the trenches any way they can, and yes, even if JPP is kind of washed at this point in his career, he still did make some plays for the Ravens last year, so who knows, maybe the Eagles could give him a call and see if he has anything left and can contribute at all in a small role. But what do you guys think? Should the Eagles look into signing JPP to the practice squad? Let me know your thoughts on that or anything else that I talked about in this video down in the comments below. And also, again, if you did enjoy this video, I want to see others like it coming in the future, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, drop a like on this video right now if you did enjoy it and want to show some support. And also, if you want to watch another video talking about how Nick Sirianni may have actually leaked some of the Eagles' plans to give Julio Jones a bigger role and just other news from earlier in the week, you can go check this out right here. Now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this video, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.